Hi folks, Paul here. As part of my preparations for my 3,000 kilometre bike ride from the top of New Zealand to the bottom, I've got a bunch of electronics that I will be taking on the ride. I'll have a GPS, which is powered by AA batteries. I'll have a cell phone, which is USB powered. I'll have a rear light and a front light, which are both USB powered. The rear light has its own battery, but the front light doesn't. And I've also got a spot tracker and anything else. I think that's about it. In order to power all that with the minimum amount of fuss, I will be making myself a USB power bank. I could buy one, but I want to make one instead because I've got all the bits and pieces, and why the hell not? But also I've got some of these fantastically good lithium batteries from an e-bike battery pack. It was from a brand new e-bike where somebody ran over the corner of the battery, which destroyed one end of the e-bike. The rest of it, there's a whole bunch of these in it, was in perfectly good nick. And I took some out and they measured very nice capacity. That is a great cell. So my plan is to build up a USB power bank with 4 18650s, and I'll add a 18650 lithium ion to USB boost converter, and an TP4056 board, and I'm not sure which one to go with. These are the same thing. This one might be easier, and I'll probably add switches so that I can turn these off, so that when I'm not using it there's absolutely no drainage current whatsoever. And I might use these switches that I love, or maybe that's quite a satisfying switch. I got these tiny wee little ones here that are very small and light, but they're, over the course of a month I'll probably wear those out, so I don't think I'll use those. And then I've got this old bag from a previous bike battery where the cells weren't nearly as nice as these. And in addition to having a USB output for charging my phone, I'm going to use one of these. Come on, focus. I'm going to use one of these in order to provide a better connection to my front light. So that is the plan. Let's put it all together. While I wait for my soldering iron to heat up, I've just been thinking about this charger board. So this is a classic TP4056 charger board, which I want to attach somewhere. I was thinking up on the end there, but it would be slightly more space efficient if I put it there, or even slotted it in there. However, when it's charging, I know that these TP4056 boards get quite hot, so I really don't want to have it hard up against the side of the cell, because that is just an invitation to trouble is very unlikely to actually cause any problems, but it's not ideal. So in there, no. It's so tempting to put it there, because that would be so much more space efficient. This is smarter, and this can radiate outwards slightly. It'll be up against here, although I could potentially, when I charge this at night, so my plan is to stay in accommodation, so there'll be a mains power socket every night on my tour. I could pull the battery out so that at least that TP4056 has some space to radiate the heat that it generates. So that is a more sensible design. In the meantime, the other choice that I have to make is I've got two kinds of these DC cables. I bought both of these through AliExpress. It's really nice buying pre-built connectors. So much nicer than doing all the faffing about yourself. So there's two options. This is for my front light, and at the moment it has a USB cable coming out of it, and my plan is to replace it with one of these because this is a much more reliable connector. I've got this one which is theoretically waterproof. There's a rubber seal there and it screws in, so that will be outside potentially in the rain, so that makes perfect sense. This is a much easier one to get together and apart, quite like that. I much prefer this as a connector, much less hassle, but for the application on a bike which could be exposed to rain, I guess I should use this, even though I don't like them as much. But yeah, alright. Okay, I talked myself into it. That's going to go there. That's going to go there. Oops, other way around. Okay, so how does this work? I don't like that. When that is, it's all going to be a bit, I was hoping that there'd be enough space in this bag to allow for a switch on either side, but once that is all zipped up and tied onto the bike, that's going to be under some tension. That might not work. Such a cunning plan. Thwarted by reality. Bummer. I've also got this lovely... That's not going to work. No, that's not. The other option is that. I wonder if this would actually be better if it went like that. So that's all under tension. Yes, that's much better. I can still switch it on and off in the bag, but it is just enough of an improvement that that's going to work. It's not perfect. All right, okay. So now it's time to solder all these together. I've got my big ass soldering iron so that I can apply a decent amount of heat pretty quickly. First of all, some of this. To get things started. Right. Good. One. Four. Come on. Come on. Good. That will do. That's fine. Not too much heat. That's good. Alright, that's that end. Now before I solder together the front ends, the positives, I'll just check the voltages on these cells to make sure they're all in the same ballpark. I don't think I've done anything with these cells since I tested them, so they're probably flat. Let's have a look. 3.31, 3.31, 3.32, and 3.31. That's nice. They have held their voltage quite nicely in the last 6 months since I tested those. Good. These are going to be good. Now I don't need the monster soldering iron for this end because I'm just soldering to this thin outer plate. It's not, this has got a massive heatsink because it's this negative end goes all the way up to here, whereas the positive end is quite a small area, so it doesn't need nearly as much heat, but it's given it plenty of flux. And still a bit. There we go. There we go. Now, you could argue that the bigger soldering iron might be a better option on this end as well, because it would be quicker. That would be a valid point. Have I got this right? Battery plus, battery minus, going to the minus. Right, that all makes sense. That all looks pretty tidy. There's these insulation rings between my positive and the negative, so that's alright. So theoretically, I should be able to charge this with USB. Let's, oh, bugger me. That's something I didn't notice. It's the dorky USB standard. Oh no. After all, oh man. Oh, that's embarrassing. It's not micro USB. I didn't notice that. Ah. Yeah. Just having a look in my other ones, and this is the dorky one as well. Ah, I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't paying attention to that. Yeah. I don't want to have to carry a whole new cable just to charge this. What I really should do is just rip that off and replace it with a micro USB socket. Well, that's a stupid setback. Let me test this just to make sure it works. I have to go and find one of these stupid USB cables. Where the hell would one of those be? I'll be back. Okay, so I found one with the right USB end, but I'd already stolen the other end for some other project. Then I found another one, which is the right end, and it too had been emasculated. And there's another one. Finally, I found one. Now, I could take this, leave that on, and just take this with me, but I don't want to carry another cable. That just doesn't make sense at all. So let's just double check that this works, and then I'll steal that micro USB and replace this. This is the power bank with recycled 18650s inside it that I don't want to carry because it's got this big aluminium case. It's going to be, I think this is a better, this has got better cells, although I can replace these cells. This has, I think this has 4. It probably is it 4? Yeah, well, so this has the same number of cells, but it'll be heavier. Although it does also have a torch, which is nice, and a display to tell me the charge, which is also nice. Another option that I did consider was ripping out the guts of this and using that, but I don't want to mess with this. This is quite nice around the house. Okay, let's plug this in though, and alright, that's charging. That's good. Nothing untoward going on, and off. Charging, that's good. That's what I want. It'll be interesting to see how long this board takes to charge up for these four grunty cells. Certainly it should do it overnight, which is the main thing. Alright, well, at least that part works. So now let's see if I can pull this off and replace it with this one without making a complete mess. The odds of me screwing this up are reasonably high. Oh, well, that worked better than I expected. Now, have I melted the plastic? No, I haven't. Good heavens. Well, maybe I can do this. Let's go, that might just work. No! Oh, shit. I'm having trouble getting my soldering iron to connect those to that pin to this trace. It's probably impossible to see that because it's so damn small, which is part of my problem. So I'm going to try and use this wire to help bridge between the connector and the trace. Let's see if that works. Well, that might have done the job. So that might have worked. Let's plug in the USB and see what happens. My cunning plan thwarted. Focus, focus. Are you going to focus? Yes. Well, I spent a long time trying to get that to work, and it wouldn't, so I gave up and put a new one on with the dorky connector, which is really... my vision, my plan was so brilliant, and now it's imperfect. What a shame. So I need to carry on and get the rest of it working now. Putting some Kapton tape over it to make it slightly less susceptible to short circuits and so on. That's all happy. That's good. Charging. So, onwards. Okay, I'm almost done. Alright, so after much faffing about, I've got it to this point here. That turns on, that button turns the TP4056 off and on, so I can disengage the TP46 and not drain the battery ever so slightly because I'm running that. I can turn off the USB, what is this? This is a boost converter that boosts the battery voltage up to 5 volts, which allows me to charge my phone on the go. And then this is 5 volts that will plug into my front light. So that turns that on and off. So that's all very good. I'm still left with the annoying hassle that this USB mini socket means that I have to carry an extra cable just to do the charging. What I really wanted to be able to do was have a USB micro so I could charge from this mains USB adapter, charge that overnight, and then during the day, if I needed to charge anything I can charge like my cell phone using that. And of course I can also charge my cell phone overnight using that. But if I'm in a situation where I'm not able to recharge for a particular night, then I've got this power bank. So that is annoying me so much that I went and bought myself a couple of these and paid the postage to get them here quickly. So this is a TP4056 board with micro USB, happily, yes, will it plug in? Come on, here you go, yes, micro USB, and this is slightly different from the normal TP4056 boards in that it also has some battery over discharge protection. That's what that chip is doing, and that's the MOSFETs for turning the load off or on. So that's going to be quite good. It means that I can add a little bit of protection to these unprotected cells. So that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to rip it open and again pull off this heat shrink one more time, replace that board with this one, and have all the boost converter and that all running through this protection circuitry. So let's do that once more. One of the YouTube channels that I watch is Big Clive, and he does oodles of good stuff, pulling things apart, and he does a remarkably good job of keeping everything in frame, which is not something not a skill I've yet acquired, as you can tell from the first half of this video. So I've now got the TP4056 wired to the battery. The protection circuit is wired to, leads are wired to the boost to 5 volts USB circuit, and also that's 5 volts. And I've got switches for these two functions. So if both of these switches are off, then nothing is connected to the battery and nothing is being drained, not even the tiny drainage that you might get from this protection circuit. Then when I turn that on, the protection circuit is enabled and the TP46 can be plugged in and charged. It's already fully charged, so it's not going to do anything. And then if I want this to work, I need both this and this on. Yeah, got to get the sequence right. But what that does mean is that I can be charging my laptop. Charging my laptop, yes, charging my laptop, that's good. Charging my laptop, and I can be charging the power bank at the same time. So it's charging that, and I'm charging this at the same time. So I can plug this in at night and be charging both this and my cell phone from one USB, and that's quite nice because I suspect wherever we stay, there won't be a huge number of power sockets available for USB charging. So effectively this is a thing as a UPS. I think that's how it's going. Yeah. So that's pretty good. Once this finishes charging, then all the charge from this will be going into the battery, and it should all work quite nicely. So if I turn that off and unplug that, then everything shuts down. Turn that back on, and hey presto, it's charging again. Good. Alright. So I finally have the device that I wanted. I'm sure you can buy these, but I didn't want to buy it because I got all the bits and pieces, except I didn't have this, which was why this whole thing was annoying me so much. Because I embarked on this whole project on the assumption that I had all the necessary bits and pieces. So I ended up spending a bit of money getting those expedited. Anyway, so next comes some heat shrink. I don't want about that much. And it goes in there. This is going to make some noise. Before I do that, I just want to make sure I've got this on the bottom. Turn that off, turn that off. Right. A little bit of that. There. Right. Third time is a charm. There. In order to avoid burning myself, I will put some gloves on. Right. I stunk on that. And then I want that to be over there. Want that to be over there, and then like that. That's the way Good. So that is going to be okay. Wait for that to cool, and then trim off the ports. So that needs a that's good. And that's good. And then trying very hard not to cut myself here. Okay. That's all right. A little bit more space than I wanted, but not quite enough flexibility there. Where is that? Oh, that's right there. Still not quite right. Good. Good. All right. There we go. I believe it is done. So that goes around the top tube on my bike. That will go off to the light. I need to wire that onto my actual light. So that's another job. But apart from that, finally got that done. That was more work than I wanted it to be, but I'm pretty happy with that. So each of those cells is about 3,400. It's quite a grunty little power bank. Each of those cells is about 3,400 milliamps, amp hours. Yes. So that all up is 13,500 milliamp hours. That's not bad at all. In a pretty small container, and I can charge other devices, I can charge it, and it's got a decent connector for my light. The light came with a standard USB, but these sockets are not super reliable when you're jumping around on a bike, so this is going to be a much better solution. Cool! Alright, I'm glad that's done. Alright, thanks for watching. Catch you later. Well, I'm glad that's done. That took way longer than it should have, but it seems to be done now. So, thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Cheers.